Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in the house. Let's get this conversation going. Hello, hello. Welcome to. I gotta get it out of the house. Get it out of the house. All right, you guys. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Secrets of the Mind of a Man. We talk about how men think when it comes to dating, relationships, and love. And thank you guys for joining us today. I got my guys that are getting ready to come in here, and we get ready to have a good conversation on this. We're talking about today the number one thing that makes a man want to get married. What makes a man want to marry you? Come on in. I'm trying to give y'all a little time to come on in the house. If you're in the chat, you'll be able to drop your comments in the chat as we get this show on the road, you guys. So come on in the house, please. As you're coming in, let me know where y'all watching the show from. Let me know where y'all watching the show from. My girl LV is in the building. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for popping in. Come on in the building. It's a beautiful day. I got my guys in the background. They're going to break it all the way down to the very last compound, talking about what men are interested in when it comes to relationships and all that good stuff, you guys. So come on in the building. We said the building. we're virtually in the building, making it happen. So let me go ahead and bring my guys in. Welcome to the show, my brothers, my friends, my guys are in the building. Thank y'all so much for coming in to have the conversation. The number one thing a man is looking for when he's looking to find a wife, a man who's desiring to find his special someone, the number one thing that makes a man want to get married is our talk today. And I brought my man James Bush to the building. Introduce yourself, James. Let the people know who you are and what you got going on.
Hello, my name is James Bush. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Tennessee and Nevada. I'm also the host of the Mind of a Man podcast. That's me in a nutshell.
All right. Ron, introduce yourself to the people. All right, Ron's got some. There you go.
What's going on, people? My name is Ron Thomas, and can you hear me?
Ron's got some connectivity issues there. Yeah, you froze up on us already. Your order, they said my audio is staticky.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do to fix that. Let me see what I can do. I need that audio to be right. Y'all tell me if I'm getting it right. If it's getting there. If it's am I almost there? Because I can switch headphones like it ain't nothing. All right. How's it coming through now? How we sounding?
Still staticky.
Still staticky.
Yeah, I noticed the difference when Ron got on, and I was like, he ain't hearing no static from him.
How about now? Is it that buzzing sound right there?
That buzzing, yeah.
You know what that is? That's my phone. How about now? How that sound?
Hear me?
Is it clear? Hey.
I can hear Ron still clean and clear. What about you, Kelvin?
So you can hear Ron?
Yeah, Ron is cool.
All right. Am I still buzzing now?
Still buzzing.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hold on 1 second. James Bush, give us your perspective while I solve this mystery, my brother.
man. You gonna be giving you a perspective on the topic of the day is what Kelvin said to me about, man, maybe no less than 300 seconds ago. What makes a man want to marry you? I'm being honest. When I asked with that question, there's a number of different things, and it's different for every individual. I think it's based on their experience in life, on what they've come through or what they've gone out of. So, for instance, if you have a guy who has been divorced or so like that, if you have a guy that's been divorced, and what would make him want to marry again or so like that? it could be a little dicey, a little bit iffy. You have to understand what setting he's coming out of, what place he's coming from. He probably has been kind of, I don't want to say assaulted by family law practices, but he's probably gotten taken through the ringer from the ones that I've known of. And he's trying to get his money up. He's trying to get back to square one, get the 401k filled out again, plan for retirement, kind of has some extra spending cash, emergency fund, and everything like that. So for him, marriage has a lot supposedly to do with future building security as well, and being able to continue to still be the provider that he is. That's a lot. Now, if you're having someone that hasn't been married or anything like that, the equation may be different and the ingredients may be different. But the point is that where are you finding these individuals? Where at what point in life are you finding a person? I think that's the biggest key out of it. If he is in the middle of his career, for instance, if he's and again, a lot of this stuff is person specific. If he's in middle of his med school residency or so, and there's a lot of things that's going along this, the hours, the time, the commitment, and just having a person in his life that can support him through that process, whether it be mentally, emotionally, financially, or whatever have not. I think that's a big teller, and that's a big point in that as well too. If you're talking about someone who is I guess fully in their career, they're building a business, because everybody nowadays is a quote unquote boss. So that's something as well too, knowing that the time constraints and everything that goes along with that, and him seeing a person that can actually fit into his life, where he's going, what he's doing. And I think that's the biggest key out of all of this. I've told Kelvin about this statement that I made a long time ago. It's like, everybody can't ride the ride. So if a man finds that you cannot fit into his life, where he is at and what he is doing, then that's going to be problematic. That's going to be troublesome, because he's already seen, without the official quote unquote commitment, what things look like, much less what they would look like if a commitment was ever to take place. So I think that's another key point in there as well too. Let's see what else we have in there. What makes a man want to marry? It could be also along the lines of family history, cultural implications. Does he believe in marriage or anything like that? I mean, and at what point in time, what are some of his values, core values, or anything like that? We're seeing now, because of, and according to Pew Research, that there are not a lot of marriages taking place. There's a lot of cohabitations. So the fact is he can go and, as they say, shacking and jacking. He can be with you for God knows how long, without actually making the commitment or so, and doing that differently. So I think that's something as well too to take in consideration. But all in all, if I guess our audience is women and what we're talking to, is considering the guy that you have. I mean, some men don't want to be married. Some men don't want to have that type of responsibility upon them. And one thing that I would inform my ladies is that you can't make that guy. You can't rush him down the altar. You can't make him change his mind about what he wants to do, because again, that's external motivation. That's not intrinsic. That's not internally motivated to do the things that are necessary to keep the relationship and the marriage going. And so that's something that I think we all as a society have to embrace, is that no man is not necessarily going to do what they don't want to do. You have to be able to allow them to be them. And if that person aligns with what you are trying to do or what you're trying to offer, then glory be. That's cool. But if not, I believe you have to respect that and respect his journey, and just say, okay, maybe this is not for me. It's not necessarily about a good thing. It's just that it's not a good fit. And I think that's so important. I think sometimes people, they rob themselves based on delusions of what they believe someone is able or capable of doing. And yes, they will wait year after year, decade after decade, for someone to make a commitment to them, but who was never fully willing to do that in the first place. And so that's key. Kelvin, you back on?
Yeah, man. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. Yeah, you sound good, brother. You was breaking it all the way down. I appreciate you holding it down.
Not a problem.
Good. So, you guys, I apologize for the delay, but that was good, brother. I appreciate you. Your perspective on this, and so, so we talking about the number one thing now. um I got a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
All right. On this idea of like, what is it specifically that causes a man to decide this woman versus all the other women, right? um in my estimation, right, I almost don't know any men who don't have to make a phone call before they ask the girl to marry you. Right?
Wow.
But a lot of the guys that I know had to make a phone call to this one and say, you know what? I'm going to marry this girl. I'm sorry. It's over.
Wow. And I've heard that too, though. I've heard of cases and stories like that. And it's definitely unfortunate, but it's very telling as well too. When you come to as in boxing, Kelvin, when you talk about the tail of the tape, when you're putting two people against one another and you're seeing who has the strengths, who has the weaknesses, who has the possible advantages, and things like that. And even with that, sometimes guys still don't get it right. But I mean, that's what I think it comes down to in the end, though. Sometimes
it really does. It really does. And but I always say that there's a couple things that a guy is looking for when he's having this conversation in his head. He's asking himself a couple things like, is this going to be the right decision for me?
Yeah.
Right? Like, am I going to be happy in the future?
Right.
And nobody can tell him that. He's got to decide that on his own.
True.
Now, here's something that I'm going to say a family member of mine.
Okay.
Right. I want to get these things out of the way, James.
Not a problem.
These reasons why a man doesn't ask, right? And one of them is that men are afraid of making the wrong decision, right? Check it out. I got a brother that I know who was he had a woman in his life. They were a great couple. She would help him with his business. She was there for him. She was with him. She was right by his side. A whole step all the way, right? She's right by his side. He had his business. She was right there, dude. Like, so to all of us who were standing around, we was like, you know what? That is a good couple. Like them two, they're gonna make a great couple. They're gonna do really well together, right? He marries her. Not long after he married her, she was like,
wow.
She's like, whew, glad we got that over with. She's like, I'm out of that. Right. And she never helped him with his business again.
Wow.
She was never there. And so, as I watched him and I observed and I listened to other men, one of the things men are concerned about, they like to use the word afraid, but I'm gonna use the word concerned because these are real things, right? Men are often concerned about getting tricked.
Yes. I definitely would agree. I definitely, for a situation or an institution that costs so much.
Costs so much, buddy.
It costs so much because, I mean, okay, so, and man, Kelvin, we've talked about this ad nauseum at points. 1970s, you have no fault divorce. Pretty much legislation is passed through. So what that means is an individual can get out of a relationship or a marriage pretty much whenever they want to. And there be no reason whatsoever. It's just, you go, you do your cooling off period depending on what state you're in or so, and then that's that. But the financial ramifications of that process are very heavy. And I think sometimes that's what guys are really afraid of in the end, because I don't want to go sit back and laying on grandma's couch again. While I'm still paying child support and alimony. I don't want to get hit with this old switcheroo or so. So now I'm very cautious. I'm I'm cutting instead of cutting twice. I mean, I'm instead of measuring twice and cutting once, I'm measuring 800 times to make sure that I can kind of do this thing the way that I really, so that I won't get bit in the butt beforehand. Because guess what? Also, too, with this in the 70s, we've got uncles, we've got a brother so and so from church, we've got this other brother and that brother who has went through that process and has had those things happening. As so it's really somewhat a frustrating situation, and it's almost to the point where it's like you're gun shy. You know, when
Yes.
you're really afraid to pull the trigger on something.
Yes.
You know it's profitable, you're cool,
Yes.
it's having, but you have all these different things in your mind, such as, man, but as Kelvin said, what if she switches up? Or you have people that are from the online group Men Go Their Own Way, MGTOW.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
they're reaching out. It's like, you know, hey, don't get caught up in this, you know. Or you have some people from the manosphere, you know, that they're in your ear as well too. So it's all these different little information out there, and it can be challenging if you're not grounded.
It really can. It really can. And you know, and I hope somebody doesn't take this all to make it seem like we're against the process. Look, I want to see people happy and healthy and in good relationships and good situations. But you need to know what men are thinking when it comes to this conversation. You know, people need to know. Now, James, for those that don't know what MGTOW is, could you explain to them what this men's movement is?
he said it's a men's movement.
Oh, it's a movement, and there are a lot of people who don't know what that is all about. So give it to them.
So basically, I mean, it's Men Go Their Own Way. It's a anti-feminist, misogynistic, mostly online community advocating for men to separate themselves from women and from a society which they believe has been corrupted by feminism. So they're believing that legislation has been corrupted by feminism to put men in an inferior position. Case in point, no fault divorces. Case in point, whether it comes to abortions and et cetera, the list goes on and on. Anything that does not promote masculinity in some type of way, MGTOW more than likely will be on it. So you have these groups. I found it a long time ago on YouTube, and they have a lot of information out there. The crazy thing about it is that when you look at the views and so like that, they are in astronomical numbers.
Big,
I mean,
it's big.
And that shows that there is an audience for these individuals. There's an audience of men who are not, I won't say feeding into it, but they're seeking more understanding about the message that these guys have. Why? Because some of them have been through similar experiences. And it's something about trauma bonding. It's something about people who have shared experiences and how they connect one another. And then that begins the culture, and that begins the group. And then now you have group which has finances, and once they had the funding, they can do whatever the hell they want to do after that.
True words. And you know what? Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
What I do like about it is, although it can be viewed as negative, it's probably the first time in history that men have been collectively looking inward, as opposed to just like kind of dancing and doing what they're told by society. They're looking inward and asking themselves, is this right for me? Is this did I actually get what I wanted, what I was looking for, what I was hoping for? You know, like the brother I was describing earlier that married the girl. He was under one conception that turned out to be a misconception, right? And so, and there were a lot of men who made the step that we're talking about here today, and they were under a cloud of misconception when they did it. You know, and so at least men are taking the matter seriously and not entering into this union lightly.
So you mean to tell me that this didn't start with Kevin Samuels?
No, this did not start the same day. This did
because,
not start.
because I mean, I get a lot of of feedback on what he's doing. I'm like, you do know that people have been having these conversations for a long period of time.
A long time.
He's just somebody that has come along, and I won't say capitalize about, but he's taking the message a step further. But
Yeah.
these conversations have been going on. YouTube is a gift because you can
Yes,
go
it
and look on that date where the origination date where it was initially uploaded, and you can see this conversation has been had for a while now.
They definitely have, and I think they need to continue. I
Yes.
think we need to. I think it's good for men to have conversations about their journey. So
Right.
that's why we're here today, and we're gonna answer some questions to you guys. So look, if y'all got questions, go ahead and drop it down in the chat. We're gonna run these questions down, and hopefully you guys will get some good intel, some good what am I saying? Some good conversation going.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
As we continue. So James, I'm gonna drop a question in the ticker down below.
Okay.
And I want to get your opinion on this. Hold on a second. I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna put it in the comments there.
Okay.
And I want to get your opinion on this question. And you guys, I want y'all to drop your opinion on this question as well in the chat. All right, here we go.
Boom. Gotcha.
All right. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 years, and I'm really itching to get married. Now, she says, I know he's the one.
Okay.
But he just won't ask me. We've talked about marriage, but he always makes it sound so far away. I'm getting fed up, and I want to give him an ultimatum. Is that a bad idea? Come on, y'all. I need y'all to I want to hear I want to hear your perspective. I want to hear your thoughts on this question. You first, James. You jump in first.
Oh, man, you just it's just like my girlfriend says, she says, when you're on these different podcasts and streams are a whole lot different than we in our personal life.
Yeah, I hear the same thing. Nope,
so okay. So I'm gonna put it to you like this, because sometimes I see this type of individual in my sessions. And one thing that I will offer out there is, if he's if he or she is supposedly the one, why is the one taking so long with you? What are some things that have not been figured out, or what seems to be the issue? It's about somewhat evaluating, diagnosing, looking into what's taking place with us. Is this something that we are not ready to do? Or is it something within him that he's not ready? Is it a level of insecurity? A lot of this stuff has to be looked at before marriage. And I think sometimes people, they look at the wedding, but they don't look at the process. And with that, the character of the individual, which can help sustain the marriage, not 5, not 10, but for however long it can be. But if you if this is actually a great question to ask or to know now. And also too, I want to put out there, no ultimatum. Ultimatums, I don't believe work. But this is actually great, because now we can get to the bottom of this. Where is this individual at? What is he needing? What is he requiring? I mean, is he even ready? Does he even believe in marriage? Or so like that? Is he getting the necessary help for him and positioning himself to do such or so? And if he's not, then that's a big telling sign. I mean, I want to see your feet moving. I want to see you actively working on the process. And if you're not, then that's letting me know what I need to do. And so these things are great to see, but unfortunately, sometimes people, they get so hung up on what's not happening as opposed to what should be happening in the process.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. And as I think about it, she started off to me, my boyfriend and I have been together for 6 years. and now I'm really itching to get married. Now you're itching after 6 years. Now you're itching. And here we go, James. Look, James. I came up in the church house where the preacher used to break that scripture all the way down. So we breaking this comment down.
Okay.
Line by line, precept by precept. All right.
Right. Okay.
Look, she said, "I know he's the one." Really?
Yeah, man. That's
I know she knows he's the one.
right.
Well, how do you know that? And not only how do you know that, are you the one for him?
It's true.
How do you know that?
True.
Because 6 years and he still has not decided on what you are or if he wants you or she's itching, like my girl Demetria said. She's itching. Demetria said, I'm itching after 6 months.
Oh gosh.
Look, 6 months. So, I think that, let's be honest, a man knows if he wants a woman after a certain amount of time. Now, look, I'm not the guy that's going to be rushing people, right? Because I know how serious the commitment is. This is all the stuff we talked about earlier, James. So 6 months, and she said, "I know he's the one, but he won't ask me." So what are you going to do? Ask him?
Well, I mean, Kelvin, to be honest with you, there's a myriad of factors that could have taken place. I mean, for instance, if a guy, again, what we mentioned earlier, if a guy is coming out of a previous relationship,
start right there. Tell me why a guy would be with a woman for 6 years and not marry her. Go.
Why? I mean, because one, he's broke. I mean, if he doesn't have his financial affairs in order or so like that, and being able to provide, take care of, or so, then why would he enter into something like that again? I mean, for those who actually care. Now, granted, there's all kinds of guys from all different generations, millennials, Xers, Zers, baby boomers, and everything, all different, have different approaches. But what I'm saying is that if that is something that's important to that man that you are with, then more than likely he doesn't want to enter in something being broke, not having his stuff together, not having his financial affairs in order, or so like that. Also, too, it could be sometimes trauma. It could be pain from previous situations. It could be pain from something, or watching his mother cheat on his father at 15. Don't ask me how I know that. Maybe I heard it on the couch. But anyway, and seeing that kind of stuff, and it's like, I don't know, I don't trust, or anything like that. It could be some of those things as well too. Yes, I have a relationship. Yes, you are wonderful, but having being in a marriage, that echoes back to what he saw during childhood and development, and watching some of the things his father went through or his mother went through, or so like that. So that's a reason, or anything like that. And then also too, again, sometimes it's fear.
Yeah.
It's just straight up fear.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the statistics, they're not really a proponent of healthy relationships.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good.
Not looking good.
So I'm just, I mean, it's somewhat of a no-brainer, but that's what I think a lot of guys are facing in our society today.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be the do boy. Nobody wants to get caught with the short end of the stick after the fact, where they have this life that they have to continue to try to work through to kind of get back to square one. There's a research that says that males, 3 to 5 years is a little period after divorce when they somewhat recover, whether it's financially, emotionally, and the list goes on and on. And so when you're looking at that, what man or so like that who is possibly logical, practical in his reasoning, wants to enter in something like that again?
Yeah, but at the same time, that's got nothing to do with her. all those were good reasons for him. None of those are good reasons for her to stick around for the fireworks that are not going to happen.
Exactly.
So my girl Michelle English, she said, "You're not the one, sis. Move on. I got my people on the Facebook. They chiming in over here. My girl Michelle Pillow, she said, does he know he is the one? Does he know he's the one? She said, I know he's the one, but does he know he's the one?
True.
Good question. Good question.
Good
She also said, in my opinion, assuming sexual benefits, 6 years is a long time to be providing someone with benefits. And I agree with the guy. Do not give an ultimatum. I would let him know I am ready and ask where he is. James, how we having that conversation? You're in a relationship with a guy for 6 years. The question is, should you just throw away 6 years? Let's say you're talking to this young lady right here. Right. We're having a conversation with this young lady, and she's trying to decide what do I do?
Okay, right? so I'm gonna give you an answer, Kelvin. If you pull me back, if I go too off of the range on this one, all right?
All right, got you.
All right, so first of all, I'm mad at you, sis, because 6 years, and this is like the first time that you guys are having this conversation, or you haven't had something along that time period to say, okay, where are we going? You know, because hopefully I'm exclusive with you, right? And so if I'm exclusive with you, that means that we're making somewhat decisions together, or we have a plan or an objective of what is going to happen on said or certain date. You know, there are certain milestones and markers that are going to be reached or so. And again, if it takes 6 years to get there, then that letter doesn't get written. Because I already know about 6 years, yeah, we're going to do this. But to me, that shows that there's possibly a lack of communication that's going on within the relationship. And so, if there's a lack of communication on that plane, on that level, it's very well possible that there's a lack of communication that is going on in other things within the relationship. Again, these things aren't isolated. You know, it's like an oil spill. It touches a lot of the different factors within the person or within the system or the dynamic. So now I'm looking at you, says, why is it taking so long for you to have the conversation? Are you fearful? Are you timid? Or do you have self-esteem? Or do you have self-worth? Or so, like, I mean, what is actually going on? Right. And so once you have ascertained or understood about that gentleman of what he's actually doing, you have a decision to make. Again, a lot of this stuff we do in our daily lives all the time. When you get a job offer, you see how much the money is going, how much the job is going to pay you. Right. You know about the benefits.
You know about the hours.
You know about the hours. Right. You looked and you researched and you've kind of done your homework necessary, and then you make your decision.
Right. You ask yourself, is this a step up, a step down, or a step to the side?
Right. Exactly. So doing that is what you do to kind of help yourself on the back end, right?
Yeah, it's an assessment.
And it's assessment and evaluation. Exactly. But what's happening is that sometimes with the matters of the heart, it's like I heard this guy say, it's like you, it's something similar to you in the church parking lot. You take your brain out of your head and you put it in your glove compartment box and you go in and you listen to the sermon and you forget everything, man, that reasoning, practical logic and everything has taught you. And then you leave said church and pew and then go back into the car, put your brain inside, man, and then move on with life. What are we missing here? What are we missing here? I mean, and I think at the end of it, people know.
People definitely know. Look, in there, she said, we've talked about marriage. So at least, okay, so we got a conversation going. All right. but look at this. But check it out though. But look at this. This is before that. But I know he's the one, but he won't ask me. But y'all talked about marriage and he still won't ask you.
It's not talking though,
man.
But
but he always makes it sound so far away. After 6 years, James, it's far away. How is it far away? He makes it sound so far away. Yeah, it's 6 years. It's far away.
It is. I mean, you're not asking the right questions though. Right. I mean, again, some people say, well, we talk all the time. We communicate, like, but you're not really talking.
Right. You're not communicating.
There's a lot of surface level information going on right there, and
Mhm.
it's not getting to the heart of the questions of what you're needing to hear in that moment.
Right.
If you okay, for instance, if you're thirsty, you go for water. If you're hungry, you go get some food or so like that. So let's take that same concept and let's apply it to this situation right here.
Mhm.
If you are feeling that I'm needing answers, I'm having some ambiguity about this whole situation,
Mhm.
you ask answers that are specific to what you are needing.
Correct.
But when you don't do that, you only devalue yourself in that process.
Mhm.
Because the guy, he probably don't want to answer it anyway.
He don't want to.
He don't want to give you a
James,
timetable.
James, he don't want to answer.
He don't want to answer.
Listen, he's trying to figure out how much longer he got to hang out on this situation.
Oh yeah.
Let's be honest. He listen, this guy, he's buying time for some reason.
Yeah.
Now it could be that he's waiting out another woman somewhere who's, he's trying to set up something else.
Right.
It could just be like he's just very comfortable in this situation here. That's obvious. But to make it sound far away, and after you've talked about it, and he's the one, but he won't ask you.
Yeah.
James, what are you telling this lady right here that she got to do from this point on? There's somebody else that's in this same situation. Tell them your perspective on what they should do next, and then I'm gonna tell them mine.
I mean, I tell any of my clients, especially those who are dating or so like this, is it's one thing to see how the person is reflection of to you, how the person looks to you, but how do you act around that person? Are you empowered? Are you speaking your truth? Are you connected with your inner self, your inner core values? Or so are you, I mean, not living your best life because that's buzzword or anything like that, but are you being truthful? Are you truthfully being yourself?
Right.
Can you be yourself in this moment with this person or so? Obviously, from the description or so, like it doesn't sound that way.
Don't look
It
good.
sounds like she's somewhat valued herself. And then somebody say, well, James, I mean, you compromise and you accommodate and relate. And I'm like, but there's a line, there's boundaries to all of this stuff.
There's a line.
And if you don't have those things in order or know what they look like, you will cross into paths and places that will take you to different areas that do not represent or facilitate or nurture who you are as a being.
Absolutely.
So again, I'm looking at that person.
Yeah. My girl, Michelle, she said she needs to ask him what his timeline is. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Now, here's my perspective. Here's my thought, y'all. These situations are actually very tough, because you could feel like you are, as Demetria said, wasting your time, right? You could feel like this is not going anywhere and you could get out of it, right? Now, what I've seen, James, that happens is after that person gets out of it, this guy comes to his senses, feels the loss, feels the pain, feels what it feels like when he's left behind, when the woman he was with has left him. And you know what he do? He say, you know what? I'm not letting that happen again. and then marry the next girl 6 months later. 8 months, I guarantee you, James, in 8 months, this guy will be married to the next girl that comes along.
Yeah, a placeholder.
Yeah. Yeah. Or whatever, right?
Right.
Some guys really do, like, they come to their senses about what they lost, and they say, you know what? I'm never going to lose again. I got me a good one. Or either that, or this one that he's been dragging along for 6 years just is not the one.
Yeah.
Not, honey. Not after 6 years. So, should you give him an ultimatum? No. No. Because what is an ultimatum? either you squat or get off the pot. That's what they all say. What's an ultimatum? Going against your own will, right? Doing it because that's what she wanted. How many marriages have happened and went bad because somebody is doing it for somebody just to shut you up, just to make you happy. But is he happy? So my thought, James, is that they need to go find somebody like you, somebody like me, some person that they can sit down with and have a conversation about the future of their relationship. So I would say to this, James, to this lady, if my man will not go to counseling sessions, won't attend counseling, won't do any kind of coaching, love coaching, life coaching, he won't get involved in the process of pushing us forward, then she got to cut him loose. She has to cut him loose because he's not serious. He is seriously not serious.
I agree.
And that's what you got to do. So we got some comments here. Facts, love coach. Thank you very much. Vicky said she sounds like a placeholder. That's what James said. Vanya said, Marley Allen, right? a lot of moving parts. Oh, here she said, there's a lot of moving parts to this situation. There's a lot of moving parts. We got a comment up here. She said, I think it also comes from we're in the third generation of people, like the therapist said, not seeing people married but cohabitating. Now that is a conversation. Manversation, as James says. Yes, sir. So yeah, man. We got more of this good stuff going on. But so let's talk about it. We got James. I'm putting you on the spot now. I want you to tell us your number one idea for so a man's coming to you trying to decide, what's the number one thing that a guy's gotta know and kind of gotta get off his chest in order for him to ask a woman for a hand in marriage?
I actually had this past weekend.
Okay. Right on.
So what I suggest is, again, as I mentioned earlier, one is identity. Who are you? Who are you when no one else is watching? What are you after? What are you looking for? What does this person bring and add to your life? There's, I mean, and this is somewhat of a tangent, but there's a lot of stuff in the manosphere as well as rhetoric out there about why should a man get married? What's in it for men to get married? Or what can a female or a lady, a partner, bring to the table? Or so. That's somewhat of a general, broad umbrella statement, but I think every man should know for themselves what the individual that they are looking at can do and cannot do. Why do they do that? Because they've taken the time. They've known themselves. They've watched some of their habits. They look at who they are around certain people, certain individuals. They've done their own homework or so, and whatever healing that is needed to take place. Not to say that it'll be fully involved or fully fulfilled. That is, but they are working on themselves. They're active. They're in counseling. They're in therapy. They are actively pursuing their higher self, whatever that may look like or be. And so when you're doing the work or so, you can't help but to be better. You can't help but to be sharper and stronger and have a sense of definition, and also the ability to lead and be a suitable and capable partner to someone in that moment.
Yes.
But when you're not doing any of that kind of stuff, or you're just sitting and you're just listening to the rhetoric of the day or the narrative of the day or any of the other type of jazz, when you're struggling at work, your work is being impacted by your personal relationship is impacting your work or whatever have not, then man, what is left for you at that point in time? Because again, these are realistic challenges that happen on a daily basis. And everybody gets a turn. Some people are going out of the storm, some people are about to go in the storm, and so like that. So when you have that type of thing happen in life, you got to be prepared.
Fact.
But I feel that a lot of guys themselves, I'm not even on women, I'm on guys, we don't take the necessary time to prepare ourselves in this process. We don't take the time to kind of figure, it's like, who are we? What really makes us us? What motivates us? It's more than just a person leaving dishes in a sink or anything like that, but it's just about who are you looking at? If you can't tell or you can't decipher, then that's a problem. And please, 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 you can't live off the happiness of another individual.
Right.
Your daddy can't decide for you. Your mama can't decide for you. They can give you wisdom. They can give you insight. They can give you a couple little different tidbits or some things to kind of look for. But at the end of the day, you have to have an understanding about what is taking place. In biblical reference, I think it's Proverbs or so like that. It says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get ye wisdom. And in all thy getting, get understanding. You have to understand it for yourself. Of what you're looking at, of what you're seeing. If you don't, then you're in a problematic situation.
Right.
Because someone can, because they could be giving you the game and you don't even realize, you don't even understand it. You don't even know what you're looking for.
Fact. Well, you got it, bro. So my thought is the number one thing, and this is also the number one thing that I feel like stops a man from even pursuing this conversation is clarity, right? Now, I think that women can push clarity, right? Check it out. I think that women have the ability to inspire a man to make a good choice. Right? I think that women have that ability. We were talking earlier today on a clubhouse, just talking about the femininity of women, right? James, in Roman times, men have fought whole wars for the love of one woman.
True.
Whole countries went to war for one woman. Men have swam seas for one woman, climbed walls for the love of a woman, right?
That is true.
So and you might say, well, that's back then. I'm telling you, it's not, right? So I think a woman has to get clarity with the man as to what it is he wants. Now, to me, the clarity starts day one. Hey, shorty, how you doing? What's your name? When you tell him your name and you give him your number, were you clear or not clear? Is she clear or not clear, James? If you gave him the right number, you were clear, right? You didn't give him. You didn't tell him my number is some old other number. You gave him the real number. If you gave him the real number, you were clear, which said, call me. Clear. All of that is clear.
True. You're right.
Right? But somewhere along the lines, if you get to the place that you are with somebody for 6 years and they are the one, I know he's the one, but he doesn't know he's the one, and he will not ask me. That means there is ambiguity somewhere. There is lack of clarity somewhere. So you got to start with the lack of clarity. Even if you've been there 6 years, start with the lack of clarity. Start with the clarity. What are we? Are we together or not? Are we a couple or not? Is this a relationship? You can check the box. Yes, no. Do you want this relationship to continue? Yes, no. Will this end in a long-term committed relationship? between you and I?
Hmm.
Yes, no. It's pretty simple, actually. And actually, somebody might say, if you got to ask the question, you already got the answer.
Hmm.
Somebody might say, if you got to write this whole long letter of being with somebody for 6 years, you already got the answer. Because a man who really wants you, you don't have to ask him and hope that he hangs on for 6 years. A man that really wants you is not going to drag you for 6 years. He's moving in for what it is that he desires way before 6 years. Somebody's with you for 6 years, they in their mind, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You're going to be right there.
Yeah.
And he feels no pressure to change. So so to me, that's the number one thing that a person's got to get. You got to get clarity of where we are today and clarity of where we are going tomorrow. What's your thoughts, brother?
I think in our day and age right now, and as quote unquote educated as we are, if I see an individual that I am not included in some of his upcoming plans and his upcoming objectives, if there are no collaborative goals that we can share together, we're not working on anything.
Not working on it.
We're not feeding the homeless, or we're not planning on buying a piece of land, or we're not looking at a second career together, or we're not doing a lot of those things together as a collaborative. I think that's one of the biggest telling signs of how that individual regards you.
Fact.
We're not looking to establish any type of foundation or scholarship, or looking at lessons in learning this or that or anything like that, and working on our strong points and not so strong points as a collaborative. And that can involve, again, going to counseling. That is an indication, I believe, of how that individual views you or so. And also, too, that says something to me of, if you are not demanding, I won't say demanding,
insisting,
but if you're not insisting that you would like to move in this direction or in this way or in this manner, then I'm looking at him like, sis, what you doing?
Right. Where we going?
Again, because at that point, where's the investment? Is there an investment? I mean, yes, he can go, he could take you out to dinner at Charlie's and get you, man, the number 6, man, Big Dipper chicken finger special with the honey mustard on the side. But at the same point, I mean, like I said, it's like, there's no investment. I could do that all day. If we want to do it every weekend, we can. If we want to go to, depending on where you at, if you want to go to Vegas or not Vegas, well, Miami or Pensacola, whatever, I could do that. It's a beach. Hey, you can stay at a nice little La Quinta Inn, as they say. But my point is, it's like, there's no investment in there.
No investment.
There's nothing to shoot for.
Absolutely. So look, we ready to take some questions from the audience. If y'all ready to call in, we got a call-in line going, and it's ready for you. Everything's set up. So give us a call. Let me drop the call-in number. If somebody wants to call in, I want to hear from you.
Hey man, you would have went brand new with this one, Kev.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You went brand new with this one.
We try to step it up a little bit.
I see.
Take it to the next level. So look, if y'all got a call, if you got a question, go ahead and call in right now. I'll put you on, and we'll continue the conversation from there. This is the call-in number, and we want to have you call in to, if you want to get on the air, and we want to hear your voice. And we'll see if we can make this all happen for you. So, so James, so we talking about this, even as we have the conversation about men making a decision. How do men make a decision? How do men make decisions for the women, out of all of those women that are in their lives? How do they choose one?
I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. All right, well, give me your best shot.
I mean, right now, as far as a collective of men, we're all over the gamut with a lot of different ideas. I mean, it depends on, again, sometimes too, how we were raised, how we were brought up, or so. There's this idea again, as I mentioned earlier, that men make decisions practically, logically, or so, which makes sense for them at that point in time. They use information they've gained from other family members or so like that to kind of help reinforce said decisions or anything like that. But the crazy thing is, if you look at statistics about the amount of single parent households where females are, the primary, head in that point in time, they're asking their moms, about shouldn't I, what should I do, what should I do? And a lot of times that's maybe a skewed viewpoint, if I can say it like that, So they're using YouTube, society, celebrity to kind of make sometimes these decisions or so like that. And then also too, the last one thing I want to point out there is that some of it is emotionally based. I mean, men have emotions as well too.
Yeah.
And so I mean, if it feels good, if it's all in the moment, in the emotion, then hey, why not?
Yeah.
Now, and I want to caution people in any of the ideas that I just brought or topics that I just mentioned. Just because a person goes and says they will does not mean the journey is going to be smooth. Does not mean that the marriage will be fulfilling. It can be a freaking nightmare. And that's something that I think people have to take into consideration.
Fact. So yeah, this is tough. So when I'm having the conversations with the men and we're talking about making these decisions, one of the ways that a man decides who the woman will be out of all of the choices he makes, there's something that every man wants to do. Every man wants to achieve. I don't know one man who wants to be a loser, right? Every man wants to achieve. Every man wants to achieve something great, something grand, something worth having, right?
Right.
Every man wants to be the man. So one way that a thinking man is looking, he's counting it up, right? He's asking himself, what position will I be in if I take her? Now see, women have been kind of hoodwinked by Disney to think that this is all emotional, and the hand of the prince is coming. I'm waiting for the hand of the prince. Well, the prince had a good reason for picking Cinderella, right? Because he's asking himself, what will be different? We got a call on the line. Just hold on, caller. He's asking himself, what's the difference? Why should I bring this one into my life? Why should I bring this woman into my life? Will my life increase? Decrease? Will she make a difference? Now, one of the reasons that Cinderella was good, because it seemed like it's all on Cinderella, right? And it's all benefit for Cinderella, but there's a benefit for the prince. Why? What? Because she looks beautiful now that she's cleaned up. So understand that men are looking for an asset, that which adds value on top. You have to add value. Don't be with somebody that you don't add value to. If you can't add value to that person's life, you shouldn't be in their life. More than what's between your legs. Because that's not enough. You might be cute, you might be pretty, but pretty fades. Pretty fades fast. So you must have more than that. All right, let me see if I can if we can get the caller. I want to make sure we got you coming through. Caller, can you hear me? All right. I'm gonna have to hey James, I'm gonna have to do it I got one of my systems, but I'm gonna do it this way.
I ain't mad at you, dude. I ain't mad at you.
Go ahead, caller. How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am amazing. What's your comment for tonight?
This has been a really good show tonight, and I am noticing. This is Michelle, by the way. Kevin, Michelle Pillow.
Oh, hey, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good.
All right.
So it does appear to me, because I do some relationship coaching and things too, and run a support group for women. But it does appear that men are taking a little bit longer to ask women. And one of the things that I do work on with women in my group is their attitude. Like my first 2 or 3 weeks, I was talking people out of not beating up their husband or their man. You can't be hitting on him. Not healthy, but so we had to work through some of that. But I'm watching one of my sons, and he's been with this girl now for 6 years, and he hasn't married her yet. And they have a son. And when I asked my son why they've been through a lot of different things. My son, one reason he said was that when they lived together for a while and he made her move out. But he said that one time he was getting ready to ask her to marry him, and she got mad about something, and she just packed her stuff and left. And so his feeling is that, we got to go counseling, because of he's kind of an abundant man. So if we get married and you don't like something, that's what you're going to do every time, just pack your stuff and just leave, Or she'll stop speaking to him for like 2 or 3 weeks. She'll just go silent. And he, then he said as soon as he would start dating somebody else, here she come calling. So he was like, if you haven't talked to me in 2 or 3 weeks, we're not dating no more.
Understood.
But I do see him trying to work through things. One time, I guess she hit him, and he broke up with her and she called me crying, and he broke up. And he, I'm his mother, but he don't let me, look, Mom, I don't play hit. I have never hit her. You're not going to hit me. You're not going to disrespect me in front of my son. We not getting ready to go through this. So if I did something that made you feel like you got to hit me, I need to bounce. But, they're back together and working through things. He goes to church, but he just, sometimes I'm like, he sure is taking a long time, but he like, it's just got to be right. We need to learn to communicate better. She needs to grow up. He's about 7 years older than her. He just feels like, look, go live on your own for a while, get your stuff together. We'll still date, but that marriage stuff, it's just got to be right.
Awesome.
Great call.
Right.
Great call.
Thank you so much for the call. I really appreciate your comment there, Michelle.
No problem.
Thank you. Bye-bye. What do you have to say, James? What's your thoughts on the caller's comment?
I think it was a great call, and it shows a side that people rarely see. A lot of people, they talk about the end, which is, well, it shouldn't be the end, it should be the beginning, but it's the nuptials, it's the wedding, it's the marriage, it's the commitment. But there are a lot of things that happen along the way that can impede that process. And she mentioned that there was domestic violence. We talked about also too, she mentioned that the lack of conflict resolution, where you have two parties who can't hash things out when things get rough. And so now we have the silent treatment. We have we're walking around, it's avoiding each other for a week or two in the same house. And also too, that stuff, it matters. Kevin, we talked about this before a while ago, where a man wants to come home, he wants to have his peace. If he's fought corporate America, or if he's fought the blue collar world, and he's fighting traffic and all these other different items in life, or sometimes even things internally, one of the last things he wants to do, and I think it's just universal for humans, is come home and have another title fight at his residence, 32 Lane Drive. Nobody wants to do that. And when you have that going on, that can impede or it can hinder your ability to want to fully commit in a relationship like that.
Fact.
Uh,
Fact.
and I can't blame that person. Or so.
Can't blame him.
And so again, that goes back to what you were mentioning earlier. If you don't see the counseling, if you don't see the work being done on self to rectify said issues or so, what are we really doing?
Right.
I mean, because it doesn't take that long to figure out that, hey, we need some help.
Right. Right.
And if you're not willing to get the necessary help, then what are we doing?
Right. I agree. And I'll give it to the brother for self-awareness, points for self-awareness, that he realizes that this ain't right. And I don't want to take the next step if it's not right on this step. Because it's just going to be a bigger wrong step. Okay. So I'll give him that points for self-awareness about where he is and what he's gotten thus far. But the question is, what are you doing now? What now? We know what isn't happening, but what are you doing to go in the direction that you say that you desire? You know, like you said, are you doing something that brings you closer or not? And I'm telling you, a lot of look for us men, we can get real comfortable, dog. We if things are what they are, why should we move? Why should we change them? Right. So for women, look, here go a couple of gems for y'all. Don't let them get that comfortable from the beginning. Get comfortable where you want to be as a couple, as a group. You know, not comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, because he's very comfortable in an uncomfortable situation right now. So, it's a tough thing, but there are some people that need to walk away from some of these situations that are toxic. James, that one right there, buddy. It's on the edge of there's some toxicity there, and
I don't want to look. I don't want to comment on Michelle's baby,
right.
Or a situation, anything like that.
Right.
But from other situations that are similar to that or so, that is a high level of toxicity, especially when people are being assaulted, and the possibility of you having the police involved in your situation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you this first, second, and third most. You do not want that to happen. Or so like that, because that can take you down a winding path where it can affect so much of your livelihood, your business. If you're trying to qualify for certain plans and programs, the list goes on and on. And so if you're in a space with an individual who takes things to that level, to 10, and escalates upon you or so, I think that the best thing for you to do is to remove yourself from that situation.
You have to. And I'm telling you, you don't listen to this. You don't have to be in a relationship. People, look, you can go on. Look, you can go on your way and live your actual life without being in a relationship. Right? It's not like it's be with this woman or this guy or die. It's like it's probably like more like be with this person or go live, because you're not living,
right?
Just existing, hoping that the other person gets better. So life is just too short. You smack that guy and he falls and he busts his head open and dies, God forbid. You're going up for murder.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's just
you pick up you didn't like what he said and you pick up a block and bust him upside his head, and he never wakes up. You're going to jail for a very long time.
Or you can even add to this point where you go and you do something to him, and then he comes back and he does something to you.
Right.
And it ends up being one of those very catastrophic situations. And when you see that, run at all costs. Run.
Yes, sir. So I wish her family and all of them the best. I hope that everything turns out just fine. I hope people make the best decision for themselves, but I think you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them, and when to walk away and when to run.
Run.
Yeah, man. So, James, what else we need to cover on this topic? Tell me what we have not covered that needs to be covered on how a man makes a decision on the woman in his life.
I think we did a thorough job on that one, Kelvin. I'm
What
gonna
makes
be
a
honest
man
with
want to
you.
marry you? How did? All right. So look, while we wrap it up, you tell me flat out what makes a man want to marry a woman. Flat out.
Flat out.
Flat out, and then we wrap. I'm gonna give mine, and then we wrap. We getting out of here. Tell me, flat out, what makes a man want to marry a woman?
How are you going to commission me to give you a flat out answer?
Flat out.
But you know that I can't do that now.
Yes.
You know that is very difficult for me, especially with I'm looking at different situations. I'm like, well, that's why he did it, and that's why he did it, or that's why he did it. Okay, I mean, okay. So, all right. So, what makes a man? So, I'm gonna give you a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes men will marry a woman for money. She's financially well off or so, and so he's like, man, I'm gonna get the bag with her, or so like that, or she got the bag, I can be able to do things with her. Yeah, I like what she's moving at that. Or for status, I mean, she may be a judge, she may be an attorney, she may be a CEO or so like that. My woman, she pretty much works from home, she takes care of things like that. I mean, I ain't got to do anything. She went and bought me I mean, look, status is great and all that, right? He likes looks. I mean, he marries for looks. I mean, she looks good on my arm or so like that. We look great together or so like that. Yeah, maybe I wasn't the cream of the crop when I was in high school. I was a dork, I was a dweeb, I was a nerd, and nobody really wanted to mess with me. But now that I've got a little bit of money in my pocket or so, and then now I see this bombshell or so, yeah, she looks good on my arm. I want to do it. Maybe this is where we can have great sex together or whatever, anything like that. Maybe that's one of the reasons also why men want to get married or so. Or sometimes if we take it on the other end, she's a great partner. She's somebody who I feel can fit in my life. I'm quote unquote, maybe I'm a I'm a sports, I'm an athlete, and I play on Sunday for a living. And so I don't have to worry about her asking, can we go to Magic Mountain today? No. She was like, hey, do you need some ice? Do you need some rest? What are some of the things you're needing right now to help you recuperate and recover so that you can be ready for the next game? She fits into his life of what he does, and they work together on it. Or he could be a medical doctor or so, and she's saying, okay, boom, I know your schedule is this. Okay, we're not going to plan anything or so like that, so you can get your rest, so you can be well. They fit well together. It's like lock and key or so. And I know, and granted, notice I didn't say anything about good or bad people. They just work well together or so.
Yeah.
So sometimes when a man sees that, he's like, yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with her. I can work with her. She's awesome. Isn't that right? So those are a couple of reasons, not exhaustive lists. Wow.
No. That was great. I got it. I'm gonna make it real short.
Okay.
A man wants to marry you I'll say a man wants to marry you because of how you make him feel.
Yeah.
James, everything you just said was based on how she makes him feel.
I like that. Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
If she can help him get the bag, he's going to feel successful.
Yes.
If she's got a beautiful body and they enjoy a physical relationship, he's going to feel like the man, like a conqueror, right?
Yeah.
Conquistador.
He ain't never conquered anything else in his life. He couldn't conquer the 40-hour work week at McDonald's. But man, when he with her, she feel like, man, he is, man, Caesar. He feel like he's Caesar himself.
Yes, sir. Right. So all of the things, right, that you just named, even how she represents him, which is all these are true words. I look, everything that you named, I know somebody who got married for that reason.
Mm.
You know, I know a guy who got married because she had a round behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she had a nice body, and that's what he married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know a man who married a pretty face, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Dingbat, complete dingbat.
Oh Jesus! Come on, Kelvin. Come on, Kelvin. You can't.
Complete dingbat.
How you
right?
gonna do that, man? Come
Okay,
on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is.
I'll read it.
I ain't never even heard you go to that level right there. He said,
he was.
and you know what?
Not,
That's how I know it kind of affected you because you like you said a dingbat. That's how I know, man. It affected you on that one right there.
He was not the most intellectual person you've ever met. Okay,
Gotcha.
But what she did for him is made him feel like a winner.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
If you can make that man feel like a winner, if he feels accomplished next to you, with you,
mm-hmm.
having you a part of what he is, what he wants, if you can add value to his life, all of that is about how he's going to feel about himself. And he will definitely want, every man wants to feel more like a man tomorrow than he did yesterday. And if you can add to that, if you can make him feel like that, then that guy is going to want you on his team. Now, there's somebody who's listening to this, James, and they're like, well, why does everything got to be about him? Why is everything got to be about the man and the man this and the man that? Well, I'm sick of the man. He needs to be all about his woman, giving his woman what she wants, giving her a ring, giving her a house, giving her a car, giving her this, giving her that. Well, that's some of that is true, right? But at the end of the day, the topic for the show is what makes a man want to marry you, right? Women control the doorway to sex. Men control the doorway to marriage.
Marriage, yes.
Right? You don't get married until a man says, will you marry me? Right? Yeah. So what does that mean? That means you are coming on board with me. I'm asking you to be a part of my journey going forward, because I see all the assets you are, and I see how you make me feel. And if you make me feel like this and you're not my wife, and don't get it construed, you don't need to get every advantage that he gets as your wife. It's got to be some kind of something held back. But he's looking for a feeling. You make me feel like this as a man, and you're not my wife. How much more? What happens after you become my wife? Because I can see what kind of person you are for now. So add value to yourself. No, before you worry about adding value to him, add value to you.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier to add value to him. Go, bro.
I wanted to add on that portion because I think that was a strong point you made about value. But what I've noticed, and this is from this is a genderless concept, I'll say. Do you know what adding value to him looks like? Because it's very different from person to person. And in order for you to find that out, you have to take the time. It's trial and error. You have to do the homework. Sometimes most people, they would look at it as, the quote unquote buzzwords of love languages and everything. I challenge you to go a little bit deeper. What is it that he wants? What is it that he desires? And I would tell the guys the same thing. what is it that she desires? What is it that she wants?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not willing to give that, if you're not willing to do those things, then why even bother?
Yeah, you're not ready.
Why even bother? Just because again, it's a giving mission.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's what a lot of times marriage is giving,
Mm-hmm.
it's sacrificing, it's compromising, it's
Mhm.
involving time of you giving of yourself in the
Mhm.
process.
Mhm.
And if you're not willing to do that, and a lot of times, again, there will be things that you staunchly disagree upon.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not willing to enter into that type of relationship, why bother?
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Why bother?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, James, thank you so much, brother. You've been great on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Tell the folks how they can follow you. Give the folks a good send off, and then I'm gonna do the same, and we getting out of here for tonight.
Most definitely. Well, once again, Kelvin, appreciate you calling me, having me on your show again. It's always a pleasure. Definitely been looking forward to new, other opportunities. You can find me at Bush Counseling on Instagram, or you can find me at Mind of a Man Podcast. Season 3 is beginning in this coming September, and so we're very excited about that. Or if you want to drop me a note, you can contact me, James at bushcounselingservices.com. That's James at bushcounselingservices.com. You guys be well. Take care of yourselves.
All right. And I want to thank James for coming through and being a part of this show. I appreciate him being a part of the show, you guys. And look, if you have a topic or you have a thought that you want to have on the show, hit that email there. lovecoachatlanta@gmail is the email. If you need a love coach session, we offer those. You can definitely get in on that. You can inbox us, let us know what you're interested in, what you need, and we'll make it happen for you. All right. So we thank you guys for being a part of it as well. Look, lock in with us. We've got more things coming. Finding the One, the video is coming. I got a bunch of stuff coming up, you guys, that some of the stuff I can talk about, some of it I can't, but it's going to be amazing. So look, I would love for you guys to make sure you guys hit that like button wherever you're watching the show. If you watch it on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and then hit the bell so you don't miss anything in the future. All right, you guys. Till next time, peace and love. Bye.